Hello, and welcome to Dreamy Tales, a sanctuary where everyone can experience calm and a touch of magic before gently drifting into sleep. Tonight, we invite you on another enchanting journey, a story that helps soothe the mind and nurture a sense of peace. Before we begin, let's take a moment to prepare our bodies and minds for a comforting, restorative rest. Make yourself cozy, and with each slow inhale and long exhale, let the cares of the day gradually slip away. It's not always easy to step back from the day's demands, especially as night falls. Yet, remember, the less we worry about how quickly we'll fall asleep, the simpler it is for our minds to release any remaining tension. Allow the gentle flow of your breathing to wash away lingering concerns, and let the story ahead guide you into a state of deep relaxation. Now, settle in, and let the dreamy atmosphere softly wrap around you. Enjoy this story, and may you drift into a peaceful, restful slumber here on Dreamy Tales. Imagine night drawn deep, a velvet cloak over the city, and there, shimmering faintly at the edge of perception, stands an edifice of impossible age. It breathes antiquity, whispers magic. This is the Chronos Bibliotheca, the Library of Time. Let us venture within, drawn by the silent promise of untold evenings. Before twin portals of immense mahogany, you pause, inhaling the perfume of ancient wood, a scent rich and resinous. The surface gleams, smooth as polished obsidian under your hesitant touch. Framing each door, an intricate border catches your eye. The endless, looping embrace of a Celtic knot, a symbol of eternity etched into the dark grain. It mesmerizes, this pattern without beginning or end. Compelled, you trace its complex pathways, fingers following the eternal dance. Where the doors converge, a figure emerges from the wood, carved with breathtaking artistry. A woman, regal and fierce, a crown resting on a tempest of curls cascading behind her. One hand grips a spear, the other lifts in a gesture of proud defiance. She commands a magnificent chariot, its two stallions captured mid-rear, muscles straining, nostrils flared. As your fingertips ghost over their powerful forms, a phantom whinny seems to echo in the stillness. Who is this formidable queen? What chronicles lie guarded beyond her defiant gaze through these time-worn gates? A yearning to know quickens within you. You grasp the cool brass handle. With a soft sigh like the exhalation of centuries, the heavy doors swing inward. You stand upon the threshold of immensity. A moment stretches, suspended, as you absorb the grandeur. Alabaster marble stretches underfoot, cool and vast, reflecting the light from far above. Walls of weathered stone ascend towards a stunning coffered ceiling, a honeycomb of shadow and light, punctuated by stained glass windows. Daylight, fractured through scenes of myth and history, spills across the floor in vibrant, shifting mosaics of sapphire, ruby, and emerald. You move forward, footsteps echoing softly on the smooth expanse, beneath the glittering cascade of an immense chandelier, its crystals dripping light like frozen stars. Ahead, where two curved staircases sweep gracefully upwards, a golden plaque gleams between them. Curiosity pulls you closer. You read the engraved words aloud, your voice hushed in the resonant space. Welcome to the Library of Time. Only the most inquisitive spirits discern its threshold. Each volume herein is a conduit to disparate ages, distant realms, whilst amidst the past you shall remain unseen, unheard. History yields not to intervention, only to understanding. Learn you shall. Could such a place be tangible? A slow smile curves your lips. Choosing the left spiral, you begin your ascent. Gradually, the second floor unfurls, endless rows of towering bookshelves punctuated by columns of white marble that kiss the vaulted ceiling. Every shelf groans under the weight of countless books, ancient tomes radiating that familiar, intoxicating aroma. Part dust, part parchment, part pure enchantment. Your gaze drifts, scanning the legions of spines, until it settles on one particular volume tucked away to the right. Its cover is the deep green of a primeval forest, its spine bordered by the same intricate Celtic knotwork that adorned the entrance doors. No title proclaims its contents, only a stark date. 60 CE. Drawing it from the shelf, you're surprised by the cover's velvety nap, its unexpected lightness in your hand. You wander onward, navigating the labyrinth of shelves and columns that seem to pierce the very heavens. An inviting corner beckons, suffused with a gentle, warm radiance. Here, nestled beneath a broad skylight set into the ceiling, lies a welcoming drift of cushions. Some share the forest green hue of your chosen book, glowing like emeralds in the focused beam from above. Others are patterned with a vibrant green tartan, crisscrossed with bold lines of blue, white, and red. Settle amongst them, sinking into the plush give, the soft woolen texture, a comforting presence against your skin. Comfortable now, you turn your focus to the book. The crisp rustle of turning pages is a satisfying sound in the quietude. You begin to read. In 43 CE, the newly ascended Emperor Claudius, hungry to solidify his authority and extend Rome's dominion, cast covetous eyes towards the mist-shrouded island the Romans called Britannia. Inhabited since the Iron Age by disparate tribes, many believed to have journeyed from continental Europe. This land pulsed with ancient energies. History would later gather these peoples under the broad banner of Celts, yet vast differences existed between them. Unique kingdoms, dialects, customs, fierce pride. What united these tribes, however, was a formidable reputation as warriors. Still, even their ferocity struggled against the disciplined might of the Roman legions. At Claudius's command, 40,000 soldiers stormed the southeastern shores. The eastern tribes fell relatively swiftly. Thereafter, many tribal leaders saw little choice but to align themselves, however uneasily, with the conquerors. Among these was the king of the eastern Iceni tribe. He maintained his rule as an independent ally of Rome, fostering trade and laying the nascent foundations of a Romano-British culture in the lands known today as Norfolk and Suffolk. A fragile peace settled over the region, but its tenure was destined to be brief. Upon the king's death, his will divided his kingdom between his two daughters and the Roman emperor. His wife, Queen Andraste, assumed sole leadership of the Iceni. within Celtic society, a woman could attain such stature. To the Romans, steeped in patriarchal tradition, a female ruler was anathema, unworthy of recognition or respect. They summarily dismissed the treaties, annexed the kingdom, and seized Iceni lands by force. Underestimating Andraste was a fatal miscalculation. She proved a ferocious adversary, a leader of uncommon skill and charisma. She rallied neighboring tribes, forging an alliance against the common Roman foe. Fueled by the fires of vengeance, Andraste orchestrated a potent, organized rebellion. Her ranks swelled with each victory, ultimately commanding an army purported to number 230,000 by the time of her final confrontation. Though Andraste and her coalition could not ultimately halt the Roman subjugation of Britannia, a process that would grind on for another 4 decades, she delivered a lesson that reverberated through the mighty empire. As the Roman statesman and historian Cassius Dio later recorded, all this ruin was brought upon the Romans by a woman, a fact which in itself caused them the greatest shame. The name Andraste, resonant with ancient power, echoes the Celtic word for victory. Despite her eventual defeat, her legacy endures, triumphant in spirit. To this day, she is remembered, the warrior queen who dared to defy the greatest military force the world had ever known. You pause, the weight of the narrative settling upon you. What a saga, you muse. Placing the book gently beside you, you lean back, hands clasped behind your head, gazing up through the skylight's luminous eye. Your thoughts drift back to the library doors, to the carved figure, the crowned woman, spear in hand, arm raised, wild hair streaming. Just for a moment, you let your eyes close. A peculiar sensation envelops you. First, a feeling of sinking deeper, ever deeper into the plush evergreen cushions. Then, an astonishing lightness, as if gravity itself has loosened its hold, and you are adrift, floating through time and space, towards a destination both intimately familiar and utterly unknown. Your eyes flutter open. Before you stands the same figure, the one etched into the library's mahogany doors. You must still be dreaming, you assume. But then, impossibly, the carving shifts. Color blooms across the static wood. The queen's face and form quicken, her skin adorned with the swirling vivid blue of Celtic battle-woad. Her hair ignites, a fiery cascade of captured sunset. Her gown becomes a stunning green tartan, mirroring the pattern on the library cushions. The chariot she commands gleams with the luster of pure gold, pulled by horses of rich chestnut brown. You are utterly captivated, transfixed by the warrior queen's emergent beauty and stature, this magical metamorphosis unfolding before your very eyes. Looking down, you find yourself standing not on marble, but on damp, yielding earth. Cool, fresh air fills your lungs, carrying the scent of soil and growing things. All around stretches the verdant English countryside of millennia past. The air begins to thrum, vibrating with sound and motion. Behind the 2 magnificent horses, her golden chariot rolls towards you, burnished by the sun. She circles the clearing once, then again, her poise unwavering despite the uneven terrain. Her wild mane of long, red hair twists and dances in the wind, framing her face. A tartan cloak billows around her shoulders, secured at the neck by a gleaming gold brooch. As she passes, a fleeting, mischievous smile touches her lips. Finally, the horses slow, snorting plumes of breath into the cool air. Andraste brings her glorious chariot to a halt mere meters away. Up close, her presence is even more commanding. Tall, imposing, every inch the warrior queen. With her face painted in intricate sapphire whorls, she glances in your direction. For a heart-stopping second, you believe she sees you. But her piercing green eyes slide past, looking through you as if you were mere air. You recall the plaque's inscription. In the past, you will neither be seen nor heard. How extraordinary, you realize, to possess a front-row seat to history entirely unnoticed. With this understanding, a tension you hadn't realized you held dissolves. Your shoulders relax, your limbs feel light, untethered. You follow as the queen descends gracefully from her chariot and walks purposefully ahead. Only now do you truly absorb your surroundings. You stand atop a massive earthwork, a hill fort, a strategically defensible community settlement of Iron Age Britons. Your gaze sweeps across the panorama. Much of the settlement is encircled by a high timber palisade, reinforcing the natural sense of security afforded by the elevated position. From this vantage point, you command a bird's-eye view of the sprawling tapestry of lush green countryside stretching beyond the walls. Immediately below the fort, cattle, sheep, goats, and pigs graze within wooden enclosures, tended by diligent men and women. A large crop field lies nearby where figures toil, guiding heavy wooden plows pulled by immense, slow-moving oxen, scoring straight furrows into the dark earth. Further off, a thin ribbon of blue shimmers beneath the horizon. You must be near Britannia's eastern coast, the heartland of the Iceni. That water, then, is the English Channel, the Oceanus Britannicus, or perhaps the Narrow Sea, as the Romans termed it. Even from this distance, the rhythmic pulse of its waves feels like a familiar greeting. A clean, salty tang seasons the air. For a moment, you are lost in the scene, mesmerized. Your attention eventually returns to the bustling life within the hill fort. Here, the air hums with the sounds of industry, the scrape of tools, the murmur of conversation, the thud of feet on packed earth. Dwellings, roundhouses with walls of wattle and daub, stone or timber, cluster together. Their conical roofs are thatched thickly with reeds. Some have animals lounging contentedly on sun-drenched patches of grass outside. Others boast small vegetable plots where cabbages and corn climb towards the patchy sunlight. You drift towards the settlement's center, roundhouses flanking your path. The sounds intensify, becoming a lively symphony of daily existence. People move everywhere, absorbed in their tasks, utterly oblivious to your spectral presence. Men wear tunics cinched at the waist with belts. Women favor floor-length dresses. Both are often draped in tartan cloaks, predominantly in the same shades of green, blue, white, and red worn by the queen, the very pattern that adorned the library cushions. You marvel at the quality, the vibrancy of the dyes, the precision of the woven lines. As if summoned by your thoughts, you pass a group of women engaged in this very craft. Near a roundhouse entrance, a young woman stirs lengths of woolen thread in a large wooden barrel filled with liquid, the gentle sloshing reminiscent of the distant sea. Peering closer, you see the liquid is an intense, luminous blue. A faint, sweet aroma, perhaps from woad or berries, rises from it. Beside her, another woman stands before a tall wooden loom, already threaded with vibrant green, white, red, and blue yarns. With practiced dexterity and focused attention, she guides the shuttle back and forth, weaving the intricate pattern into existence. It seems incredible that such flawless, beautiful textiles could be produced 2 millennia ago. You witness firsthand their resourcefulness, their artistry, the quiet diligence etched on their faces. Evidence of the tribe's skill surrounds you. From the roundhouse next door emanates the rhythmic clang of metalworking. Drawn by the sound, you peer inside to find artisans shaping metal. One carefully heats a crucible of gold over a crackling fire before pouring the molten, liquid sun into a circular mold. Beside him, another hammers a cooled strip of gold flat. The steady clink-clank, a percussive beat in the workshop's heat. A third undertakes the most intricate task, using specialized iron and leather tools to hammer and twist flattened gold strips around a circular core. The stunning result begins to emerge. A heavy, coiled golden neck ring, a torque fit for cultic nobility. You've never encountered jewelry of such raw, potent beauty. Wandering further, you pass more roundhouses, glimpses of life unfolding within and without. Metalworkers forge shields and swords, implements of defense and defiance. Children practice with wooden slingshots, aiming at makeshift targets. An elderly woman sits cross-legged before a large pottery wheel, spinning it steadily with a wooden stick. Her wet hands expertly coax a lump of shapeless clay upwards, smoothing and shaping it until an elegant bowl emerges from the primal earth. You linger, finding the focused, peaceful creation strangely soothing. The air here is crisp, refreshing, yet carries an undercurrent of something delicious. Following the mouth-watering scent past homes and workshops, you arrive at a particularly large roundhouse. It seems grander than the others, and the reason soon becomes apparent. This is the dwelling of the Celtic queen herself. Stepping across the threshold, you enter a warm, inviting space, heated by a central fire pit sunk into the earthen floor. Thick plumes of fragrant smoke spiral upwards, escaping through an opening in the thatched roof above, leaving behind the rich aroma of cooking food. Luxurious furs line the floor. Reaching down, you feel their surprising softness. More furs are piled amongst mounds of clean, golden straw. Bedding, you realize, for the warrior queen and her daughters. And there they are, seated around the hearth. The queen ladles a fragrant stew, thick with meat and vegetables, from a cauldron suspended over the flames. Bowls are filled with succulent morsels and colorful produce. You imagine taking a bowl, helping yourself, sitting amongst them on the soft furs. The stew, you can almost taste it, brims with homegrown leeks, cabbage, parsnips, carrots. The tang of wild garlic and parsley sharp upon the imagined flavor. It's a meal promising comfort, warmth, evoking thoughts of family, of home. Beside you, Andraste and her daughters finish their meal, placing empty bowls on a low wooden table. They pick up goblets filled with a golden liquid, homemade mead, its honey-sweet fragrance filling the air. They sip contentedly, talking easily, sharing the day's events, their faces illuminated by the flickering firelight. Andraste wears a magnificent golden torque, even more elaborate than the one you saw being crafted. Multiple bands are intricately braided around its heavy base, the terminals adorned with complex Celtic knots. Her vivid blue war paint has been washed away. Her tartan cloak hangs neatly on the wall. Stripped of her battle adornments, illuminated by the golden flames, the warrior queen possesses a different kind of beauty. Her hair remains a riot of fiery curls. Her piercing eyes sparkle like polished emeralds. The formidable spirit is still palpable, yet now softened by a tenderness, a maternal warmth you hadn't perceived before. She is undeniably the warrior queen, but here, in the sanctuary of her home, she is also a loving mother. The girls chatter about their day within the fort's confines, while Andraste recounts tales from journeys further afield. Her eyes gleam with the telling, reflecting the firelight glinting off the swords and shields propped against the curved walls. Her words seem to lift the very atmosphere of the room. As you listen, unseen, unheard, she speaks quietly to her daughters of her plans, to meet with leaders of neighboring tribes, to persuade them to unite with the Iceni. Together, she declares with quiet conviction, stroking her eldest daughter's hair, they will drive out the Roman enemy, securing freedom for her girls, for all her people. What an extraordinary privilege to witness this intimate moment. A profound sense of peace settles over you, a feeling of belonging in this ancient, fire-lit space. Little do you suspect that the descending night holds yet more quiet wonders. Noticing the deepening twilight through the roof opening, Andraste leads her daughters outside. They lie side by side on the cool grass nearby. You join them, drawn by their shared focus, gazing upwards into a night sky ablaze with stars, a velvet canvas pricked with diamond dust. You recall the Celts' deep reverence for the cosmos. You listen as Andraste speaks in low, soothing tones about the shifting patterns, the celestial dance of constellations. She points towards the steadfast North Star, the destination, she explains, for Celtic souls in the afterlife, reached by ascending the twisting stellar pathway beneath it. Here, lying on the grass, the cool night air brushing your face, surrounded by the quiet murmur of ancient voices discussing eternal mysteries, you feel utterly serene. Letting your eyes drift closed, you again notice the peculiar lightness, that sense of buoyancy. Your body feels ethereal, floating, gently reeled back across the currents of time and space, returning to the library where this incredible journey began. The glass expanse of the skylight now separates you from the star-strewn night. The green beneath you is no longer grass, but the plush velvet of the library cushions. Resting on a tartan pillow beside you lies your book, fallen open to a page depicting the warrior queen and her daughters. You gaze at the illustration with a knowing smile. It captures a likeness, but not the essence, not the fire. The reality, you think, was infinitely more impressive. Closing the book, you nestle deeper into the soft cushions, allowing your thoughts to settle alongside you. And then, enveloped by the library's ancient silence and the lingering echoes of the past, you drift into a profound and dream-filled slumber. Under the argent caress of the moon, when the firmament blazes with scattered stellar jewels, the quill of Jehuti finds its truest rhythm. The ibis-headed patron of wisdom, celestial cycles, and the arcane arts prefers the hush of night for his chronicles. Tonight, a narrative unfurls concerning Amun-Re, the solar luminary, and the dwellers upon the Cometian soil. His reed implement whispers across the papyrus sheet, etching a history woven from divine breath and mortal endeavor. Soon, the horizon will bleed light, and Amun-Re shall surge from the domain of deities, leaving Jehuti to traverse the shadowed paths of the Duat, where neither sun nor moon holds sway. Within his sanctuary in Men-Nefer, the very heart of ancient Kemet, Jehuti sits. Walls, fashioned from immense polished stone, form his terrestrial abode. Their surface is alive with vibrant frescoes depicting cosmic truths and earthly rites. Outside his window, lunar radiance kisses the apexes of the distant pyramids. These monumental geometries pierce the heavens, silent sentinels watching over the slumbering metropolis. Jehuti, a fusion of mortal form and avian divinity, bends low, his long, curved beak nearly grazing the parchment where his stylus dances, painting the intricate figures of the Medu Neter. A familiar, fertile perfume from the Ethereal, the great river, drifts into his chamber, suffusing the air with the scent of lifeblood. This vital watercourse, the nation's artery, murmurs through the city. A soft zephyr stirs the fronds of date palms, while the stars, like chips of diamond, gaze down upon the impassive visages of the great Hul sphinxes. Presently, Amun-Re will stir, consuming the moon and stars in his fiery ascent, reborn with the magnificent sun. Come nightfall, he will voyage back to the netherworld, a bulwark against the encroaching tendrils of Isfet, the unmaking chaos. Yet, the cosmos was not always thus balanced. In the Genesis, only Amun-Re, the sun, and Nu, the primordial, watery abyss, existed. Amun-Re found pleasure in observing the waters shimmer beneath his effulgence, marking how the light shifted through the day's passage. He retained the name Amun-Re for the zenith sun, yet called himself Khepri at the dawn's first blush, and Temu as dusk painted the sky in variegated hues. Solitude weighed upon Amun-Re. Seeking companionship, he breathed forth Nef, the wind, who rustled through the palms, caressing their broad leaves. Next, he summoned the rains, a blessed relief quenching the desert's parched throat with life-giving droplets. From his own tongue sprang Jehuti, divinity of the moon, stars, potent Heka, written word, and the meticulous calendar. With earth, rain, and wind established, life inevitably burgeoned. Exquisite flora bloomed, painting the land. Insects hummed, and fauna teemed across Kemet. Thinkers, artisans, narrators, and master builders soon claimed this fertile strip as their own. Amun-Re's loneliness dissolved. He walked among mortals, flora and fauna, his falcon visage a familiar sight above the people, who offered him reverence and awe. He nurtured the crops and bestowed upon artists and scribes the light needed for their enduring creations. Amun-Re governed the terrestrial sphere while his divine sibling, Weser, held dominion over all that lay beneath. The Duat, the underworld realm of gods and venerated ancestors, was a place of stark beauty, intertwined with primordial disquiet. The mortal world, kissed by the sun, remained a bastion of Ma'at, of order. Thus, countless epochs flowed by. Amun-Re designated a Pur'aya, a pharaoh, to champion law and harmony among the Egyptians, while Wazir kept to his subterranean kingdom. But ennui eventually gnawed at Wazir. A yearning to experience the world of mortals took root. As time passed, the subtle disquiet of the Duat began to permeate the earth above. Consequently, the men and women of Kemet grew lax in their reverence for Amun-Re. His temples visited less frequently. Amun-Re, however, remained resolute. He perceived the path to restoring equilibrium. Turning to Jehuti, he declared, "You have ever been my aid in upholding Mahat. The calendar is your invention, the seasons your charge. Now, a new duty awaits. You must stand sentinel over the earth through the night." Amun-Re elucidated his plan. He would journey nightly into the Duat, ensuring Wesir remained confined to his realm. By day, however, Amun-Re's work lay upon the earth. Each dawn, he commenced his celestial passage. His rosy fingers stretched from the east, heralding daylight. With his great maw, he devoured the moon, and beneath his rays, the cities of Kemet stirred to life. Merchants cried their wares in bustling souks. Women bartered for milk, eggs, and bolts of cotton. Magicians enacted marvels before enthralled crowds, while artisans applied pigments to stone canvases. In the fertile fields, farmers cast seeds: wheat, barley, flax, and grapevines. And within the towns, children attended tutors, learning the sacred arts of reading and writing. As noon climbed high, a moon ray blazed from the sky's apex. The searing heat drove farmers and merchants indoors for respite. Cool, fresh fruit, nurtured by the Nile's rich silt, offered refreshment. Even Amun-Re partook of succulent figs and sweet grapes, basking in the afternoon's golden glow. Meanwhile, beneath the sun's potent gaze, pharaohs paced through opulent palaces, decreeing the erection of temples, pyramids, and eternal resting places. Kemet's architects, master craftspeople, commanded vast labor forces and precious materials to sculpt magnificent cities from the land. The Egyptians, pioneers among civilizations, embraced a system of writing. During the long, torrid afternoons, scribes meticulously chiseled hieroglyphs into stone stelae, or brushed flowing characters onto papyrus scrolls. Hieroglyphs, words embodied in pictures, elegant phonetic shapes, adorned temple walls and official records. Their complexity reserved their mastery primarily for priests and administrators. Rather than adhering to a strict left-to-right or right-to-left reading, hieroglyphs were always deciphered following the direction the depicted figures faced. Often, this figure was avian, a detail Jehuti with his ibis head found particularly pleasing. While scribes labored over their intricate script, Amun-Re continued his westward arc across the heavens, journeying beyond the Nile's course. Longboats plied the waters to and from the northern Mediterranean coast, conduits for goods flowing between Kemet and the wider Near East. Beyond the river's fertile banks, Amun-Re gazed upon the undulating dunes below, where golden dust danced on currents of air. Nef, the god of wind, offered a subtle smile, and grains of sand sparkled in the breeze. Traveling west, Amun-Re began his descent. Back in Men-Nefer, burnished rays brushed the rooftops as families convened for their evening repast. Scribes, magicians, merchants, and farmers returned to their hearths. Amun-Re observed them all, from peasant to pharaoh, arranging dishes upon tables large and small, green vegetables pungent with garlic, spiced lentils, eggs, and fresh bread. Across the land, honeyed beverages accompanied the hearty fare, alongside shared chronicles and bursts of laughter. Amun-Re began to stain the sky with hues of rose, violet, and crimson. His time approached to journey into the Duat, while mortals slept and dreamt, renewing themselves for the day ahead. He descended to watch over Wezir, preserving cosmic balance. His brilliant colors flared across the sky as he aimed for the horizon to meet Seshat. She, consort of Jehuti, embodied truth and justice. Alongside her husband, Seshat governed the stars and seasons, wielding veracity and equity to maintain the universal equilibrium. By day, Seshat stood guard over Amun-Re's solar bark, moored at the boundary of the mortal realm. At twilight, she watched him sail into the embrace of the underworld. Now, stars emerged like pinpricks in the deepening velvet. The moon ascended, signaling Amun-Re's departure. He stepped into his vessel and then, with a knowing grin and a wave to Seshat, paddled down towards the realm below. Through the night, his bark would navigate the river of the underworld. The sun's final embers vanished. Jehuti, the lunar god, recognized his watch had begun. His pen flew across the scroll, marking the passage of hours, days, months, and seasons. Meanwhile, the vibrant streets of Kemet's great cities fell silent. Stars shone with fierce clarity in the obsidian sky, and the full moon offered its pale illumination as parents soothed their children into slumber. By this same moonlight, Jehuti labored on his treatises of alchemy and astronomy, inscribing arcane secrets that inquisitive minds would ponder for generations. Men and women lingered in their homes, sharing company and spinning tales. Sleep would soon claim them, but Jehuti remained vigilant, guardian of order. weaver of narratives. These are the chronicles recounted by firelight and starlight, tales of the Netjeru of Kemet and the people who honored them. They speak of architects raising towering pyramid complexes and scholars delving into ancient forms of Heka. Some, like the later Hellenes, would whisper that Jehuti authored the legendary Emerald Tablet, an ancient text hailed as the cornerstone of alchemy, the art of transmuting base matter and brewing wondrous elixirs. Many seekers believed this tablet held the secret to crafting the philosopher's stone, conferring immortality. As Jehuti immersed himself in his esoteric work, watching over the dreaming world, Amun-Re pursued his journey below. His boat swayed gently, navigating the underworld river, much like drifting upon the terrestrial Nile. He exchanged salutes with Kemet's legendary heroes and pharaohs of bygone eras. Many deities resided here. Wesaya reigned supreme, but the Duat also sheltered Yinapu, lord of embalming, and Nebethet, goddess of mourning, magic, and protection. They dwelled amidst the vast fields and wondrous caverns of the world beneath, where trees of turquoise lined the pathways. Jehuti and Seshat also called this place home, ascending only when the moon and stars held dominion above. In the upper world, mortals sank deeper into sleep, resting peacefully, secure in the knowledge that Amun-Re maintained order below, while Jehuti and Seshat stood guard above. Jehuti knew that with the sun's first rays, he would exchange places with Amun-Re. When Amun-Re erupted from the Duat, bearing the sun, Jehuti would return below. This cycle repeated, immutable, every 24 hours. But for now, Jehuti savored the tranquil night. He gazed out across the great city of Mennefer, ancient capital of Kemet. Though the fortunes of the Kemetian civilization would ebb and flow across its long tapestry of history, the marvels constructed here would hold the world captive for millennia. A faint smile touched Jehuti's beak as his pen continued its rhythmic scratching. He cherished this quiet interlude, where the tension between Ma'at and Isfet achieved a serene equilibrium. Yet he knew he wasn't the sole waking soul. Others shared his affinity for the night. For in Mennefer, night was magic's province. While families slept, astronomers slipped from their beds, cloaked in warm shawls. They scanned the heavens, discerning intricate patterns where others saw only scattered points of light in the vast darkness. They charted the constellations, naming them after beloved deities and resonant myths. The geese of Amun-Re, an ancient stellar pattern, is lost to modern eyes. But tonight, two renowned asterisms dominated the sky, formations that would one day be known as the Plough and Orion. These stargazers played a crucial role for the people of the Nile. Across generations, they learned to read the celestial clock, predicting the river's inundation, enabling farmers to meticulously plan their agricultural cycles. Interpreting the stars guided the timing of annual festivals, and, some believed, offered glimpses into destiny. Observing the risings of sun and moon, studying stellar positions served a practical purpose too, dividing time into days, months, and years. Perhaps for this reason, Jehuti, god of the moon, is credited with the invention of the 365-day calendar. Astronomers employed an instrument called a merkit to survey the night sky, helping them track the nocturnal hours by the stars. The merkit measured the decans, 36 specific stars or star groups forming a celestial clock. The Book of Nut, an ancient Kemetian astronomical compendium, detailed how these stars could be used to reckon days, months, and hours. As the final hours slipped silently away, the astronomers reluctantly stored their instruments and returned to their beds. For soon Amun-Re would bring the dawn. Jehuti, sensing the imminent transition, concluded his night's inscription and departed his temple. Strolling along the Nile's bank, he pictured Amun-Re drifting below, upon the river traversing the realm of the gods. Soon, Jehuti would trade places, wandering through subterranean caverns, past lakes of fire and turquoise trees. Yet, he cherished his nights in the mortal sphere, under wide skies glittering with magnificent lunar light. He marveled at the city mortals had raised, colossal, smooth-stoned pyramids ascending towards the stars, intricate reliefs recounting pharaonic deeds etched into enduring stone. The Iteru murmured and gurgled over rocks and silt, its gentle sounds a lullaby for the sleeping populace, punctuated by the soft calls of night birds. Jehuti's beak gleamed in the starlight as he walked, awed by the splendor of his home. So many treasures lay here, vast tombs, pyramids, sphinxes, preserved mummies, and potent Heka. And then there was the language, the art, the mythology. The civilization of ancient Kemet would eventually decline, but its culture would echo through millennia. At last, the final deacon of the night concluded, its passage heralding the first rays of dawn. Amun-Re commenced his slow ascent from the world below. It was time for Jehuti to descend to the land of the gods for the day, to walk beside the subterranean river instead of the Nile. Thus, the days and nights perpetually turned. Amun-Re circled the sky above, plunging below at dusk. Jehuti rose with the evening, keeping the stars and moon radiant until dawn, recording the stories of mortals as they dreamt. Amun-Re roused the people with the dawn's light. Soon they would stir, ready to embrace their day, exploring the wonders of this magical land they were fortunate to call home. And then Amun-Re would complete his circuit once more, painting the sky in a mural of pink, purple, and red, signaling the return to sleep.